Ow! 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 I forgot that Cody Rhodes was in AEW.
Yeah, well, because a vicious circle fight.
Ow! That's good shit, pal.
There will be no safe word.
The main event.
Hello, my name is Ed Felix, and welcome to the Jobbing Jabronis Wrestling Podcast. My co-host P. Whitty will not be joining us tonight. He's very busy filling out a new job application. Just overnight, a new CEO position opened up with WWE, so he's trying to get that taken care of. And what can I say? That Vince McMahon appearance was, I don't know exactly what I expected, but still shocking at the same time. I'm not sure, what just happened. As you're all, very aware, the world of wrestling has been exploding with drama, with major news stories as of late. Do you all remember, simpler times, when we were all trying to figure out if MJF no-showing that fan event of Double or Nothing was a work, or we were debating whether it was okay for Cody to wrestle with a torn pec? Those things both happened 10 years ago. You feel old yet? You feel old? Anyway, let's get to the reason you're all here. My new wrestling-themed OnlyFans, only $9.99 starting next Tuesday. No. Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, appeared on Friday Night Smackdown live on Fox tonight and proceeded to cut a 45-minute promo on the Wall Street Journal, challenging them to Hell in a Cell. To quote him directly, he said, y'all aren't even real journalisms. You journalisms couldn't even, lace up my geriatric underwear if you tried. No, that didn't happen. We actually kick off the show with Stephanie McMahon in the ring, who tells her father Vince to come down to the ring. Vince walks out to complete silence, and then Stephanie tells him that payback is due for pitching that incest angle between the two of them over a decade ago. Roman Reigns and the Usos appear out of nowhere and induct Vince McMahon into the Kiss Stephanie's Ass Club. Then Stephanie McMahon fires Vince, wishes him well in all his future endeavors, and then Pitbull performs, send the crowd home happy. No, it didn't happen either. Here's what really happened, for real this time. Vince McMahon kicked off the show. His theme song hit to a massive amount of cheers and applause. He strutted down to the ring as he usually does, and I will say Vince's strut was a lot less pronounced tonight. I guess you gotta, keep things low key in the middle of a sex scandal. That's just Vince's style. Anyway, Vince strutted down to the ring and said it was great to be in Minnesota, welcomed the crowd to SmackDown, and told the WWE Universe that WWE's motto is the most important thing to the company. And that motto is WWE, then, now, forever, together. And then he did a mic drop and walked off. That was it. I guess just implying that, the WWE Universe is stronger together than this sex scandal Vince has put himself into. Vince did a mic drop, and then we all sat there, in stunned silence and said, oh, well, might as well, watch the rest of SmackDown. It's been 10 years since I watched a full episode. Here are my thoughts on this. This was clearly a ratings ploy by WWE, and more specifically Vince, and I'm sure they got those ratings. This was probably the most watched episode of SmackDown in a long time. A random sex scandal on a Friday beats most episodes of Dynamite, sadly. But Vince coming out tonight and straight up sending a message to the media that he does not, give two shits about this scandal, and business is running as usual, is something I didn't expect to see. But at the same time, using a scandal to, attempt to blend kayfabe is one of the oldest tricks in WWE's book. So in that sense, I'm not surprised at all. I also agree with the reports that Stephanie McMahon, becoming interim CEO is just an optics play. Kind of like when El Chapo got sent to Mexican prison but was still running things from the inside. That's kind of what this is like. Because Vince McMahon is still in charge of creative. So, does anything really change with Stephanie being in charge? No. She'll do whatever Vince says. Because riddle me this, if Stephanie McMahon is the interim CEO, this means that she approved for Vince, the CEO who's currently suspended for, I don't know if they're technically sexual misconduct allegations, financial fraud allegations, whatever. She approved, for that suspended CEO to go out there and make an appearance that implies he could not care less about the allegations about him. It seems like it would be good internal PR within WWE and with the fans. I don't know about the public optics. At the end of the day, this is, a publicly traded company. And, take it for what it's worth. But, PW Insider was reporting that Vince is allegedly in a great mood backstage. And he was joking around during production meetings over the last couple days. So, yeah, I truly don't think he gives a rat's ass about any of this. And I'm also surprised they had him open the show. I thought they'd have him be the main event for tonight and really milk those ratings, even have him go after the Roman Riddle match. But I got to say, this, put my tinfoil hat on. This whole ordeal is quickly approaching work territory for me. And, what can I say? I'm a fucking mark. Fire me. Because wouldn't it be very WWE to plant a scandal like this to the media? Food for thought. 2 weeks ago in the writer's room, somebody says, hey, Vinny, it's TV contract renewal season, and we could really use a bump in our viewership and our ratings. What if, Vince, we tell the Wall Street Journal you had an affair with a subordinate, a paralegal? They'll report it. The board can pretend to suspend you, and then you come back and nothing changes. Except what, baby? Our juicy TV ratings. Now that's some good shit, pal. Book it. I will add, I will stress this very hard, that Vince McMahon no-selling this scandal does not mean it's a small issue at all. He could no-sell this all he wants. This is still a massive issue. The relationship between Vince and that paralegal has been verified to have been consensual by both sides. But to me, that's not the biggest risk Vince McMahon is facing here. The biggest risk Vince is facing here is the fact that he increased her salary from $100,000 to $200,000 after entering into a relationship with her. It's unprecedented pay for a paralegal as far as I know. Not to mention the $3 million in hush money that Vince paid her. That was reportedly out of his own pocket. So I guess that's all right somehow. It depends what you think all right means. But the massive increase in salary from $100,000 to $200,000, that's salary. That comes out of the company's own, treasure chest. I worked in finance for almost a decade, and that is a big no-no as far as the SEC is concerned. And for those who don't know, the SEC is the Securities and Exchange Commission. They're in charge of pursuing wrongdoing by public companies, stock manipulation, insider trading, fraud, or in this case, misappropriation of funds. Vince paying this paralegal big money using company funds to keep the relationship quiet is technically committing fraud against WWE investors. It doesn't matter how much money it is. It could have been $5K, it could have been $10K. And yeah, that being a $100K salary increase does make it that much worse. But any sort of magnitude in that regard would be technically defrauding public investors or investors in a public company. To me, that's the real issue at play here. I can't really imagine he would necessarily be charged with anything, but you never know how these things are going to go. In a lenient scenario, the SEC does nothing. In an extreme scenario, it's possible, Vince McMahon gets punished like Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos fame did, and he gets barred from working as an executive for a public company for 10 years. And you don't have to do something as egregious as Elizabeth Holmes did for that to happen either. Just so you understand the comparisons. Simple fraud like this is enough to get barred from working as an officer for a company by the SEC for an indeterminate period of time. And yes, this can happen even if Vince is a majority shareholder, as he is, and has controlling shares in the company. The SEC can force him to divest his holdings in the interest of investors, AKA they can literally force him to sell his stock in WWE and bar him from working as an executive for however long they see fit. If they do that, that may not if they do that, they may not necessarily allow Vince to sell that stock directly to his family either. He may have to spread it out amongst investors and what they already hold. And in that scenario, you're talking about the McMahon family actually losing control of WWE together, because if Vince has to sell his stake, I don't think Triple H and Stephanie and all these other people have anywhere near enough to actually make up for that kind of shortfall. And, that stock could get bought up by somebody else, maybe a interested entity who wants to have some control over WWE. It could just get spread around evenly and just destroy Vince's control in the company. It could go different ways, but Vince divesting or being forced to sell his WWE stock would, in my opinion, definitely result in the McMahon family losing control of WWE altogether. So we're in a very interesting, delicate scenario here. And while I don't think this is a super likely scenario, it's definitely a possible scenario. So we'll see what happens. It would be very interesting living in a time when Vince is still alive, but WWE is controlled by somebody else. Definitely didn't think any of us would be alive to see this. We all thought, Vince would control WWE until he dies, but there is a timeline where Vince just loses control and is still alive, and it's going to be a wild couple weeks. We'll see how that investigation by the board turns out, and we'll discuss updates as they come. That's all I have to say about this. Chat soon. Bye-bye.